clear out this corner of things. I'm actually just gonna start throwing stuff away from out of there. That works for me. That's staying there. What I was saying. Let me try that again. I'm just gonna start moving stuff and we will see how it is. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Elena. I am a special education teacher in the state of Iowa and this is my classroom setup vlog. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you are returning to my channel, also welcome. I am so glad that you are here. If you haven't yet, I hope that you take a moment to like and subscribe so that you can see any of my future uploads and content. But today's an exciting one because I'm finally getting into my own classroom and setting it up for the year. I say it that way because if you've been following along, you know that I've been teaching ESY all summer, the last 4 weeks. But I've been in someone else's classroom for that because they hold ESY at a different school in the district. So I am back at my classroom in my school today and we're gonna get things shaped up for the school year. I am also, just show you, 34 weeks pregnant right now. So I get really hot, which I'm gonna have to wrap this up pretty quickly because I'm in my car and it's not, the air conditioning is not running. I get hot very quickly and obviously it's, you know, I'm like waddling places these days and it's harder to get around. So I'm going to try to get this done as quickly as possible so that, you know, the sooner is better than later right now. Truthfully, who knows if I'll go completely full term and make it to 40 weeks. You know, I should have 5.5-ish weeks left of this, but you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. So I want to have things ready to go in case we go early, in case something happens. I don't know. I would love to make it to 40 weeks, but we'll see what happens. And plus, the longer I put this off, the bigger I get and the harder it's going to be to move furniture and get this all done. So anyways, I am sweating bullets already right now. So I'm going to get inside and we can look at the room and see what we are starting with. All right, when you walk right in the door, if I look right, I've got what would be student mailboxes. I don't need them all for mailboxes. I just use them for different paper types of storage. You can see there's cardstock and coloring pages, lined paper, and some like ABC data sheets, and some zones of regulation stuff. So that's there. This is a closet where I myself and my associates will put our stuff in, and our affirmation mirror, which is clearly missing some affirmations, but you know, you get to a point in the year and you're just done. You're done rehanging those things. If I pan this way, you can see I've got a lot of panels. They are key to our classroom setup and dividing the space up so that we have spaces where students are not all crammed together. Self-explanatory here, this is a student work cubby, but this student who used this workstation is moving on to 6th grade this year. So I can clear all that out, use for another student or something else this year. This is obviously a student work caddy. Here's some food that needs to make it back to my cabinet. This is where we keep, electronics. Well, right here in this open space, iPads go during the regular year, but they're all boarded away in a cabinet right now. Here's our safe room. Then moving this way, I've got 2 big cabinets full of, in here are all adult things. Over there is all games and stuff. Organizing that is gonna be a whole separate probably video, and making sure all this food makes its way back into the cabinets. I've got a bookshelf here, another bookshelf here, creates kind of a calming corner here. I've got some cubicles, bookshelves, empty bookshelves. That's a big part of what is going to get organized in this video. This is my teacher table and things behind it that I need for organizational purposes, but that is also something that's gonna get a little bit moved around. My 10 drawer cubbies, 10 drawer carts that I love so much because that's how I organize all of my lessons. This has my teaching materials in it. Believe it or not, I've gotten all of my own personal teaching items down to this cabinet. We've got some chairs stacked here, some bean bags. You can see this This is gonna make it behind my desk eventually today. On this side, I keep some more of my teaching materials as well. If I come this way, this is a kind of a just a calm down area as well. If I pan to the right, we've got our climbing wall and another desk work area. Some nice built-in storage here. This was for a very specific student last year. I had a couple kids in my roster who have more intellectual disabilities rather than behavior disorders, and this year they will be on a designated intellectual disability roster. But yeah, I had them last year, so this like sensory area, trampoline, rocking chair, this was all for one particular student. And then another cubby cubicle work area. So this is not hooked up, and it's actually I had a student last year who kicked the pipe off underneath this anyway, so even if it was hooked up to water to be able to use, you couldn't because the pipe is now no longer connected. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, some nice natural lighting and windows there. So that's where everything is organized as of right now. Some goals that I have for today is really the physical layout of the room. If I could get to organizing the cabinets, that would be wonderful, but that might be a little lofty of a goal right now. It's actually 1:15 right now and I haven't eaten lunch yet, so being pregnant, I am starting to get hungry. So I do need to go back and plug in my microwave back there and make myself something to eat. But besides that, classroom layout wise, I've got a big cabinet over here, or not cabinet, shelves that I want to go right here, and I'll actually not completely get rid of the stuff that's here, but just like reorganize it and repurpose some of the things that are back here, and then try to make it so that everything has a place and is in either a shelf or a cart. I actually commented on a Facebook group for teachers who work with students with behavior disorders about classroom layout, because the teacher was asking about like how to even decorate. They didn't know how to decorate or what the tips were, and there's no way around it. Like, things are going to get torn down through the year. It's gonna happen. But some key things that I work really hard to try to do are to make sure that anything that I am going to put up on the wall is laminated. It's just a lot harder to wreck, or if you're not gonna laminate it, then be okay with it getting wrecked and you're just gonna throw it away. So, or like I have some things over here that are just in those plastic protector sleeves, and that's also a good way to go, just again because it protects things and it's harder to ruin. And then anything that's up on walls, to Velcro it so that you can, you know, when it does get torn down, it's easy to just stick it right back up. I have stapled things into drywall before, and I've also hot glued things before, but if it's not high enough, like the hot glue gun is a great tip if it's high enough up where a student can't pull it down, because to put that back up, you have to get the hot glue gun going again and re-hot glue it. So it's great if it's up high enough where it's not gonna get ripped down, but anything that you think is gonna get ripped down, use a Velcro dot or Velcro strip and Velcro it back up. All of my documentation that I have to take for any like CPI restraints or holds that we do is like Velcroed up high where an adult can grab the clipboard down and then it can get put back up as needed. But Velcro is just a lifesaver in this kind of a setting and classroom. So laminate, Velcro, and then another tip that I have is anything that is out that a student does have access to, don't be looking at the stuff behind my desk, as that I keep physical barriers up so that we're hopefully not ruining things behind my desk. Now, if you look at this cart over here, I have retaped some of it, and it has been pushed over and things have been thrown. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen. I ran out of cabinet space and it just wasn't possible to keep everything out of reach of students, but I do have them either behind furniture, so there's like a physical barrier there where it's harder for students to get back here, and we can usually get some other barriers in place, whether it's a mat or just my physical body, to help try and create a barrier and redirect a student to a different area before they like start pulling things off. Or if it is something they have access to, it's something soft like a weighted animal or a weighted blanket, stuffed animal, something like that, that it's not going to hurt somebody if it gets thrown, or it's not going to be destroyed and broken immediately by, you know, throwing it. So those are my tips for people. By the end of the year last year, we just ran out of room and there wasn't a place to put everything. And so some things are out, but if you have to have it out on a shelf, my tip is to have it facing away from students. So if I turn the camera here, you can see I do have this entire shelf, wrong way. This entire shelf, you can see there's manipulatives, there's games, there's books, there's binders. Those are all things that, yeah, a student could have access to. But the way I have it organized is that it's facing away from when students come into the room. And it's not something that they're going to go for. I didn't have any kids at all go for anything on that shelving unit at all this year, just because it was faced away from them, and that wasn't like the first place they were going to, because it wasn't the first thing they saw or had access to. So those are my tips, and those are things I'm trying to stick to as I am putting things up and organizing the room. Whew, that was a lot of talking in this segment. So I'm gonna make myself some food to eat, and then my next order of business is to move things out of here and switch it out with the shelves that I want to go back here, the bookcase, and that's probably gonna be the next thing that you see. My food is so incredibly hot after warming it up right now that I am just going to leave it where it is. I'm watching the US women's volleyball team play in the Olympics. This was recorded 2 hours ago, but I like volleyball and I'm gonna choose to watch the US over anything, and I haven't seen any spoilers of how this game ends. So that's what I have on, and I'm gonna kind of passively be watching it. But yeah, here we go. I'm gonna put you on time lapse and clear out this corner of things and bring a bookcase over and reorganize it. Got the shelf moved where I want it to, bookcase, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna start filling it with things I know I want there. I know I want my teacher toolbox over there. I know I want my sub plans, maternity sub plans to go over there, and some other binders. I think I would like to go there and move any curriculum stuff off of this shelving unit that I showed you earlier. Move it over there. So I'm gonna start playing around with some other things. There's more room there than the things that I know for sure are going there. So I'm just gonna start moving stuff over, playing with it, and see where we land. Truthfully, I love the way this turned out. This file folder I use daily, so I've got a clear bin, not a bin, a tray, a clear tray right here that all the daily progress monitoring gets turned into me. The associates will put the progress monitoring sheet in that tray, and then I just have a system of knowing that anything there is the data that I need to enter still, and any progress monitoring rubrics or anything I need to enter goes on that tray. And then I file it in that filing cabinet immediately after I input the data. So that's my kind of system for that. The next thing I want to go for is reorganizing this area down here. We have moved away from, well, I shouldn't say moved away from, but with the science of reading, we have dove deep into UFLA, University of Florida Literacy Institute, and we use their resources mainly for tier 1 first year for sure, and then tier 2 and some tier 3 interventions. And so I have a couple of students that I do use U-Fly for their tier 3 interventions. Not everybody, because it's made mostly for a tier 1 and 2 intervention, but I do have some kids on tier 3 intervention that use it. So that being said, the Fundations interventions that I have here, Fundations is also meant for tier 1 and tier 2. They use Wilson by the same publishers to be the tier 3 intervention, but really you need to be very specifically trained in Wilson to be using that intervention. And I always describe, after doing Wilson and then doing U-Fly and being trained in them, U-Fly is like Wilson on crack in the best way, but it's just like an abridged, abbreviated version, and it's so much faster. And the thing that I hated about Wilson is that kids would get stuck on steps and sub-steps, and then we were just like, felt like you were beating a dead horse. Like, you could not move on to the next sub-step unless a student had mastered the previous one, and you could be stuck on it for 3 months before you could move on, or longer. And everything in U-Fly is like quick, and we move on, and it's spiraled, and so we come back to it, and I don't have to like feel like we're stuck every day. Like, when we're stuck on the same pattern for days, months, weeks on end, it's miserable for me. And if it's miserable for me, I can only imagine how miserable it is for the student. So I do appreciate that about U-Fly, is it's spiraled and we come back to things, and it's not just we're gonna move on if you haven't mastered it, but it does keep the pace moving a lot better, and it's a lot easier to keep students engaged with it because the pace moves a lot faster. So I have a bunch of things from Fundations and like 3-part drill, some OG routines that I'm just not currently using with any students. So it can get cleared out of there, moved into a cupboard over here. I'm gonna have to make room for it. And then, yeah, I can find room for the stuff that I'm actually using to put over here. But I do have some math manipulatives that I didn't quite get onto this bookshelf, which is fine, but I'm gonna put it back here. And like I said, anything that I wouldn't want students touching, I want it out of their reach. And being behind my table and kind of the shelves, the way I have things organized here, is it is harder for students to get behind my desk and get at these things. So we're gonna keep it that way, and I'm going to try my best to keep any manipulatives, binders, curriculum materials back along this wall, and then everything else is in a cabinet locked up, hopefully.
Take a look out the window, spirit goes up as the rain falls down. I've been sailing on the wrong course, keeping it together like I did before. Think that I've said this a few times, even with that, has it ever felt right? I swear that this has happened every moment. Can I just be honest? I was only wondering.
I told you this was just gonna be about room layout, and I wasn't gonna attack these cupboards yet, but I kind of have to, because for this to get taken care of, I need to be able to put some things in those cupboards. So I'm actually just gonna start throwing stuff away from out of there, and it's gonna be, it is what it is, because yeah, I need to create some more room up there. So some of this stuff's just gonna get thrown away, and whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, I know it's just a recap, but I'm sure you'll never see that. Rather take it all back. Maybe it's time to get home. Think that it's going a little too far, even after all the white noise. Oh, I still wanted to restart, give while you're taking my time. It feels like I'm patiently waiting in line. So can we ever have another moment? Can you just be honest? I was only wondering if maybe we can.
I'm not gonna pretend like I'm super proud of that cabinet right now. I do have some things that I do really like the way they're organized in there, and then just because I need room, things are like kind of doubled up. So I've got things that are organized into drawers and such, and into book boxes, And then I've got like another layer in front of it on most of those shelves. And I don't know. I know where the stuff is at. The things that are behind are things that, again, I know where it's at, and anyone else who's gonna get in there shouldn't have any reason to look for like my different binders of interventions and anything that someone besides me is gonna need. Like I've got curriculum resources and interventions and stuff kind of behind because I know that's where it's at and it's fine. Anything anyone else might need to grab is very clearly labeled. And actually all of it is very clearly labeled. Like if someone did, for whatever reason, need to find Numeracy Project levels 2.1 through 2 through 5, 2.5, they can find it. It's all labeled. Or if they need to find carpet spots, the drawer for that is labeled in there. But I don't see why anyone but me is gonna need to go looking for magnets or carpet spots or sticky name tag labels. So if they do, great, it's in there. But any other books or things that they might need is also labeled in more. In the front section of it, I don't know how much more I can go with it or how much better it can get, because it does have to get stored somewhere, and I'm trying my best to keep stuff that only I'm gonna need to touch in here, and anything else that anyone else who works in this room can have in other cabinets and keep people out of that. So anyways, that is what it is for right now, and I'm gonna move on to another section. Let's bring the focus down here now. I have some things that are missing from here because it's over at ESY, but in these drawers that I have here, I've got zones and Mind Up curriculum right here because those are just common social skills curriculums that I use. And then I always keep my U-Fly manual here and my magnetic boards for it here. And then my fast progress monitoring probes are right here. So that is taken care of. Just everything else is over at ESY. This is staying right here. This, now that I have a new phone and this is not the end to it anymore, it's kind of obsolete. I guess we use it for the iPad chargers though, so it doesn't need to be here. This can get plugged in and put back up here. Then I've got, this is where I keep my lesson plans on daily. I have just kind of a template that I use, and then I hand write in daily like what we get through, what the next lesson is. And then I keep anecdotal notes in here on each student, organized by their color coordinated tabs. I'm showing you the backside so you can't see names, but yeah, so anecdotal notes in this binder, lesson plans staying there. Every day when I make my morning message, well, it used to be a question of the day, and then I got through all of these, so now I'm working through random useless facts of the day, and I turn it into a trivia actually. So the useless fact 26 is that a group of frogs is called an army. So then I turn it into trivia of the day and it would say a group of frogs is called blank, and then I'll give them 3 options and then write the answer really small. But anyways, that's what's here. That works for me. That's staying there. I'm gonna plug this in now since we're talking about it. When I rushed to reorganize stuff last year towards the end of the year when I was moving some stuff around, this ended up getting put here, but I did kind of like having it out of the way. So I've got a bunch of extra timers and hole punchers and a work completed stamp, index cards, then some Mr. Sketch markers, Expo, and a little stapler. So it was nice to have it out of the way, but at the same time, it was hard to get to down here. And then I've got over here, these are just some things my kids are interested in that I have on Velcro that I will like switch out next to my date on the calendar area over there. Oh, and I even got myself on here. I had red hair at one point, so there's my Bitmoji from when I had red hair, and yeah. Anyways, I will like switch these out with what's Velcroed up there. So those are stored in here. And then I've got year-long learning targets. I could move this over by all of my social skills stuff that's up on this cabinet back here, or shelves that you saw me put together earlier, but I don't know. I've got SEL learning competencies for Iowa, and then the different assessments, if you want to say, like with the learning objectives and then ways for them to show their learning on here. This was all stuff like in here that I worked on putting together based off of the SEL competencies that Iowa has. I don't know if I want to put it back there or not, or keep it back here. I've also got some student FADE plans in here. These are actually all students be successfully FADed, and I can take these out of here and shred them now, but that's where they go. And then I've got some other, these are all in my TPT store, but just some SEL year-long learning targets and plans. I created this again based off of the Iowa learning standards, or sorry, SEL learning competencies, but then I like broke them up into units and made year-long lesson plans for it. So if you're looking for a year-long unit lesson plan broken up into K through 2 and 3 through 5, this is on my TPT store. And then these are other based off of the behavior code book. This is a lot of Jessica Minahan's work that I just like retyped into stuff that I can use. So I cannot resell this to you on TPT because it's technically not my ideas and my work. I just retyped it for myself to use, but like the FAIR plan for students with anxiety related behaviors, oppositional behavior, withdrawn behavior, and sexualized behavior. So like going through the function and then other accommodations that you can go to. So if you got a student with anxiety related behaviors, accommodations, environmental accommodations, executive functioning accommodations, curriculum accommodations, replacement behaviors, teaching underdeveloped skills explicitly, regulation and self-monitoring, and then interaction strategies and response strategies. I cannot recommend Jessica Minahan's work enough. It is fantastic and we use it often, daily in this room. And then this was a PD that she put together, anxiety in the brain, but just a lot of strategies. So predictability strategies, cognitive distraction examples, strategies for transitions, work avoidance strategies, persistent strategies, help seeking strategies, and some self-monitoring templates. Just stuff that I go back to and use often. I actually use this self-monitoring sheet daily for my students, and it came straight from her work. I just retyped it based off of reading her book and doing her professional development courses. So anyways, I need to kind of rework this, and I was going to try to get some of those math manipulatives over here and to fit here. So that's what we're going to work on next. Fine, whatever right now with how that turned out. There is a very high likelihood that by the time the beginning of the year rolls around that will change, but for now that's where it's all placed, and if I change it for the beginning of the year, fine. I know I've got some room down there to work with it, but it works for now. So my desk now is really messy, and that's what I need to focus on clearing off before I can get back at physically moving some furniture, I think. So I'm gonna put those things away and really look at where some furniture is at.
How could I lie to you? Why you tripping? I just want serenity, so you can miss me with the negativity, and you can witness all the possibilities, and it hit different when you feel the energy. And I'm a lot of energy for enemies. I keep the peace, I let the hate be rest in peace. I take it from the streets and bring it to the beach. And it don't gotta end, just put it on repeat. No, you don't trust what you...
I thought I was on video and recording myself what I was saying. Let me try that again. I said I wasn't gonna get into these cabinets, but I need to, some of the stuff that's gotta get put away so that things are out of reach from students need to get put into these cabinets. And some of this, the technology stuff, the iPads, and get put away over there. So I'm gonna switch it back to time lapse as I go through this and organize this cupboard, but stay tuned, I guess.
You trust me, but slowly you'll be alright, I know.
I actually feel really good about this cabinet right now, so I am going to actually take you through it and show you what it is. So at the top, we've just got some basic supplies. You can see there's some math manipulatives, more timers, sticky notes, stuff of that nature, more things that are up on a higher shelf for adults to reach, not for students, such as the scissors way back there, glue sticks, staplers, pencils, all of that you can see. Even got a touchless thermometer up here, lovely. And then I just started organizing the food here and things that they can buy. This is the student bank, the tickets that they earn, and then just more. This is all food that we don't make students earn. I just have a lot of food insecurity with students that we keep things on hand, such as Goldfish and Ritz crackers and juice boxes. I've got some popcorn. I've got a lot of peanut butter and jelly right in here because we make a lot of toast. Then there's some other things that students earn to buy with their points, their tickets. We are a PBIS school, so I use that with their behavior progress monitoring to create a system in here where they earn tickets and check out here. And this is where their bank is to save their tickets that they haven't spent. And I've got some Velcro clipboards and a bucket of books down here, but this feels really good, and stickers on the sides here that they can use at or buy at checkout. As I move back over to this side of my room, I still have this lower cart. You can't even see it. It's the same concept as these 10-drawer ones, it's just shorter. I still have that. I need to figure out where it's gonna go because it used to be right there. And then this, I do use this and I like what's on it, and I need to figure out where that's gonna go. And I thought I had it figured out where I could put it on one of the 10-drawer carts over here, and it's just too wide to fit on there. So what I think I'm gonna have to do now is move that table, which is fine, it's not a big deal. It was a student workspace, but I'll move that out of the way, move all of the 10 drawers down, and put this over on the other side of my cubbies, and then just make room for it that way. So here's more of me moving furniture around.
Gotta take one ride around in my body, Can't say I saw you around when I started. I'm a hometown hero, that's a far that I came, but I never knew if it would fall into place. I became what I wanted, and I'm still
okay, I'm very pleased with how that turned out for now. I'm gonna have to move my zones of regulation cards behind it. And honestly, I love my We Are Family board over here, but I might just have to change it to a zones of regulation board so that I have more room for it, because those letters are ginormous and it's really hard to actually even put any pictures there because I just took up the entire bulletin board with it. So that might become a zones of regulation board. I also thought about maybe I need like a Science of Reading Vowel Valley board, so maybe that will be it. And zone, I don't know, because the other thing that I want to do is open up this cubby over here. I'm just going to turn this now. I need to figure out these student workspaces, and the student that I want to work out of this cubby is going to be much less likely to actually work out of there when it's this closed off. It needs to look a lot more open for him, so it's still his space, but he doesn't want to be completely closed off like that. And I have another student though who does need more wall space here, so I'm I am still processing this and how I need to move this furniture around, but let me start. I'm just gonna start moving stuff and we will see how it ends up.
Home the way I left it, this time something's different. Ain't coming home the way I left it, cause I know you miss me. I wish you could show me that love at a place I'm from. They raised me good, none of these days can touch my day one. I wish you could show me that A5 ain't kinda.
Okay, I am very happy with the progress that we made today. I do have some things that still need to get fixed. I have some tapestries that I need to hang. I have some bulletin boards I need to fix and change, but that can all happen once the beginning of the year starts. And if I went into labor tomorrow, I would feel good about the room being at least set up where people can find things and get started and start the year off. So I will give you a quick last run around of what it looks like in here before I leave, and then I'm gonna get out of here and go home. Okay, this is obviously where you walk in. Garbage and recycling that need to be taken out, and then my bags. But right here we put a shelf facing this way for now to try to divide this up a little bit. That stuff needs to move and find a new home, but I'm leaving that for now. I turned this sideways so it's not so immediately accessible and kind of creates a barrier between electronic things plugged in, iPads, walkies. Yeah, you get the gist. This, nothing changed here. This is where all of the CPI paperwork will get hung though. And then I've got some visual signs for students as well with visual prompting of, yeah, what I need students to do. This cart has a lot of cleaning supplies and then also like easy work tasks and distraction things for calming down, clipboards, coloring books, the such. For here, we've got a nice little calm down area. I need to go back and look at my pictures from last year because I'm pretty sure this was not double stacked like that. But right now, it goes way too far out this way and it doesn't fit that way. So maybe the janitors put this too far close over here when they put it back, and maybe this needs to get scooched over a little bit more. And then it goes flat that way. I don't know. I need to go back and look at my pictures. I'm kind of thinking that that's what happened and that it goes flat the long way. This is where I had tapestries hung last year and then they got torn down and I just got sick of putting them back up. So I will put them back up to start the year. Then you saw everything in my area that I organized back here. I'm happy with it. I have a student in mind specifically that this will be his calm down and work area when he needs it. This will be easy to take out of reach when needed because it's on wheels, and ignore the name that's on there because that's not even a current student of mine. It's just still labeled that. This is empty, but the only things in here are going to be soft things that he has access to when we're frustrated and need a calm down break. If things get too intense, we can move this shelf out of here, but maybe we can start that way for now. I put a table here because last year I had a student that worked exclusively self-contained out of this area by his choice though, and the associate had her own table out here of things that she was working on. So I'm gonna kind of keep it that way because I have another student that's self-contained that will work out of this area. It's more open though. I opened this wall up and I could do that for right here. It would just make this center area, walking area, a lot thinner, but this student definitely needs a more closed off area without distractions when we do need to calm down. So anyways, this is what my teaching area looks like. And like I was saying, these things that, yes, there's a lot kids could grab and make a mess out of, but this wall is extending to here. I've got this that extends to here. These are all just like books and things that kids can have access to. They're calm down things, they're search and finds, picture books, things like that. Where's Waldo? Distraction, cognitive distraction breaks. So those can stay there and kids can have access to it as they're having a calm down break over here. One more thing while I'm over here, I put, these are from Zones of Regulation. These are all different self-regulation techniques we go through. These are all from Little Spot of Feeling that I put on a ring as well, and then more visuals on how we feel, zones, all of that. So that's a nice calm down area. Okay, back to over here. The things that I have though are blocked off, right? Like there is a physical barrier up to here and up to here, and there's too many chairs right there. I never have more than 2 kids at my area at once, but it's pretty easy to quickly get a mat up to close this off if we need to make sure students don't get back here and begin destroying things back here, because yes, there is a lot out back here. Then I've got this, which is empty right now, which feels good. I told you I need to redo this bulletin board. That poster needs to find a new home. It's crooked. It used to be up here, but I don't know, that's a later problem. Also, I see a poster falling down right here from the 7 Habits, so that's got to get fixed. The bean bags, once we actually come back to school in, I don't know, 3 weeks, I will lay them out where they need to go. This student here might end up with one of them here. And then I didn't change anything back here, but one of the bean bags is probably going to end up over either in this area if I clear some stuff out, or in this area. I'm not sure. We're just gonna have to see how it shakes out, if I need to keep a table here and keep it as a work area, or if I switch the table out for a bean bag and put a bunch of our zones and calming visuals here and have it as another calm down corner. I'm not sure, but on the other side of this partition is another set of the Nugget furniture, off-brand from Amazon. So yeah, that's what the room looks like. So other than needing to get my tapestries up so it doesn't look so gray and dull in here, I'm happy with the way it has turned out right now, and this is what it's gonna look like for the next couple of weeks. My goal was to get it done between today and Thursday, and I think if I came back Thursday, there's not a ton that I could do yet, except maybe hang the tapestries and maybe do that bulletin board, but most of what I have left to do, I'm just going to wait until school has started and give myself some time to, or I mean, at least I'm back on contract days, to give myself some time to think about it, think about if there's anything I want to change between now and then. But I'm happy with the progress I made, and I am, very thankful that you tuned in and watched this far. I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, please comment below who you are, what you teach, why you watch this video. All my fellow SPED teachers, I'd love to connect with you. I love to connect with everybody, but I just feel like we are a smaller, underrepresented group on the YouTube community. So if you are a SPED teacher, please comment below and let me know if you have any tips or tricks that you use in your classroom, or some things that you think of when you are trying to plan out the layout and why you move things where you do. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are some kind of guidelines that I go by as I'm trying to come up with a room layout. So let me know what your non-negotiables and guidelines are as you are coming up with the layout. And that's really it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.